Welcome everyone to the eMedica AKT Pass Guarantee Program orientation for the 90-day program for the January 2024 exam. So what this orientation is a chance to do really is for you to meet the team, be very clear about exactly how the Pass Guarantee Program works, how to submit your work for the weekly tasks, how the daily tasks get automatically submitted, a chance for you to really ask any questions that you've got. Before we get into the actual main content, I want to remind you of this. Those that have already received your welcome packs, you'll see this as one of the first things when you open the pack. Very famous saying from Lao Tzu, that the journey of 1,000 miles begins with a single step. And you've taken a huge step by joining a structured program with guided learning. So you can see you're right here now. You've taken that first step. That actually is the hardest thing, is to actually commit to a program that has so much hard work like this. Takes a lot, and you've done that. So well done. And I want to thank you for putting your trust in our team. But the great thing is now that you've done that, a journey of 1,000 miles is still 1,000 miles. Okay. All you have to do is focus on one step at a time. But it's still going to be a lot of hard work. But because we've broken it down and we've structured it, and we'll be here to hold your hand and guide you all the way, all you need to do each day is focus on the email that hits your inbox and just make sure you're consistent and that you do your work for that day before the next email hits the next day. Okay. But you see, while you've got someone to guide you, you've still got to do that hard work, because 1,000 miles is still 1,000 miles. But well done on taking that first step. Okay. So let's meet the team. So for those that haven't met me before, my name is Mohibur Rahman. I'm a portfolio GP here in Birmingham and Solihull. I'm a partner in my own practice. I'm a GP in a secure unit for women with significant mental health illness, and I also cover a community detox unit. And I'm the medical director of eMedica. So, the biggest part of my role now is delivering teaching, but also making sure all the materials are up to date, leading the team, coming up with new courses, resources, and so on. I did my GP training in Neath Port Talbot in South Wales and passed my MRCGP with merit back in 2007, and I was awarded FRCGP in 2019 for my work in medical education and humanitarian medicine. I've written questions for the prescribing safety assessment. I've written various articles, resources for MRCGP. I used to be an examiner and invigilator for the GMC for their PLAB 2, so OSCE, and I still examine, or on the books to examine, for Liverpool Medical School for finals. So let me introduce you to the rest of the team. So Masooda Rahman is the director of e-learning at eMedica. She plays a big part in being faculty at all of the courses that you'll be doing as part of the AKT program, but also is responsible for leading our team of authors and editors that make sure that the material's up to date. Okay, so you'll see Masooda at all of the live sessions. She's not joining today because she's on annual leave. Anna Greathead is a core member of our eMedica e-learning team. She's faculty for all the course and webinars, but she's also the main sort of admin for the WhatsApp group. So each cohort, so your group, just the people on the 90-day program, will have a sort of WhatsApp group, which is up to you if you want to join it or not. But a lot of people do find it helpful. So Anna's going to say a few words, okay? So when you're ready, Anna.
Okay, good evening. Nice to meet you. We are strangers at the moment, but we will be getting to know each other very well. It's amazing how quickly you do feel like you get to know people when you're seeing submissions come in, you're responding to emails, and you're interacting on WhatsApp as well. This course can be so good. It can work so well for people when people put into it is what they get out of it. And it can be so effective in not only preparing for your AKT, but actually preparing you for a whole life in general practice thereafter. If I can offer you 3 pieces of advice from my vast experience of being involved in the Pass Guarantee program, the first thing is you have to commit to this course. This is not a course that you can easily catch up with if you fall behind, because it's quite intensive. There is a lot to do. So it's not something you can put down and pick up again easily. So commit. Even when you're tired, think, but I will do my questions. I will do that question. I will check the case cards, because if you stay on top of it, it's intense. If you let it get away, it becomes really, really difficult. And the second thing I'd ask you to do is to be as organised as you can. Time is very, very precious when you're on this programme. And one thing that you really don't want to do is waste time looking for that link that you found very useful the other day, or trying to remember where it is that you're going to find that useful resource. So when you find things like that, make sure you know where they are. Make sure you make a little bookmark. Be methodical about making your notes. And crucially, Dr. Rahman will talk to you about the resource page. Get really familiar with the resource page, because there's loads of things on there, and lots of people only discover it far too late in the programme. And then the final thing I'd say is trust the process. And people often find that at the beginning of the process, their scores are not what they're used to getting, and they're not what they want to get. However, it's because you are learning. eMedica quizzes are there as a learning activity, and not as an assessment of your knowledge. So trust the process, commit to it, and you'll reap the rewards when you get to the end. And we will be with you all of the way, right from this very moment, right till results day, where we'll be on the edge of our seats waiting for your emails. So really looking forward to this journey, walking it with you.
Thank you so much, Alan. Okay, and I introduce you now to Dr. Kennedy Umej. So Kennedy is the AKT mentor primarily through the WhatsApp group. Now, what's great about Kennedy is, Kennedy's a post-CCT, a qualified GP. He's got multiple other roles alongside working with us in medical education. He's doing a postgraduate qualification in diabetes to become a diabetes lead. He's, working full-time in practice. But alongside that, Kennedy did exactly what you're doing. He was part of this program, but an earlier version of it. Okay. So, he went through this program a couple of years ago when he was in training. And not only did he commit to it, but he passed his AKT with one of the highest scores ever recorded, 95% overall. Lots of people managed to get 95% in one domain, but to get that average across all three is really, really challenging. And since then, Kennedy's been working with us and with several cohorts since then to help guide. So primarily, he'll offer support through the WhatsApp group. Within that, he'll help to answer queries. He will let you try to deal with some queries yourself, because that's part of the learning process. But then when you need support, he's there to offer that support. You'll meet Kennedy through the WhatsApp group anyway. By the way, we will send the link to the WhatsApp group in the welcome email that you will receive the day before we start. And then again, on the day one email, because we start on Thursday, you'll see a link to join the WhatsApp group. You sign up via that, okay? And then in terms of the other members of the team, you'll meet various other members of the team. They might respond to emails, to queries. They'll be dealing with things like processing the recordings after each of the live sessions so that they can be added to your resource page. The rest of the team makes everything happen, okay? We're really fortunate at eMedica that we've got an elite team at all of the different roles. It's what makes the whole thing really smooth. And joining today as part of the faculty, for example, we've got Laura Smith. She's often faculty at various of the courses as well. Okay. So in terms of how the program works, you're going to get an email 5 o'clock in the morning every single day for the 90 days. From Thursday is when the actual first day one email starts. But you'll actually get the first email on Wednesday. The day zero email comes up on Wednesday. Okay. And from then, every day up till the day of your exam, you're going to get an email, okay? And what will happen is, with that daily email, there'll be links to a question of the day. There'll be links to online revision questions, which ones you should do, and you need to follow the link. There'll be reading, which is going to give you some background knowledge for things that we're going to cover later on to start consolidating knowledge, okay? Some of that reading will be from the Oxford Handbook of General Practice. Some of it will be to an appropriate resource like NICE CKS. There'll be various learning exercises. And alongside the daily tasks, there'll be weekly tasks. Now, we use a variety of different learning methods in the weekly tasks. So sometimes you'll be asked to watch a video, maybe a workshop covering a specific specialty, but with a GP focus. And then you'll answer some questions on it to make sure you've learned it. There might be some exercises to help identify some of your weaker areas and then to address them. There might be online questions from different sources to help us build a picture of where are the areas you need most support with. We'll do some RCGP knowledge challenges and so on, okay? I'll show you what that all looks like shortly. But before we get to that, for anyone that hasn't already got the Oxford Handbook of General Practice 5th edition, it needs to be the 5th edition. Anything beyond that is so out of date. you'd actually probably do yourself more harm than good by reading the 4th edition. Even the 5th edition, because it's 2020, it was published, there are some things in there that will be out of date in terms of the management, for example. But it's got a great section on admin. It's got a great section on, a lot of how things present doesn't really change. Just, you'll notice that some things that you read here, when we then do teaching at the live sessions, for important guidelines where they've changed, I will cover the latest guideline. So don't worry, but it's still useful as some background. Okay. If you haven't already got the 5th edition, it's available from Amazon. Someone will post this link for you into the chat. If you order it today or even tomorrow, you'll still have it in time for the program to stop, because they do next day delivery at Amazon. Okay. But it must be the 5th edition. I appreciate a lot of you will already have this, because this is a core text. A lot of people buy this when they, ST 1 year in GP, to do some background reading. Okay. Something else that's really important is to track your progress. We've got a tremendous amount of hard work ahead of us. Okay. But it's really important to enjoy the little wins. All right. So you've got a couple of things to help you with that. You've got your daily progress tracker, which is actually on the reverse side of that picture with that quote from Lao Tzu about a journey of 1,000 miles in your welcome pack. Each day, I recommend you stick this on a notice board somewhere you're going to see it every day. But each day, when you've finished every task within that daily email, tick it off. And so what you'll see at the beginning is completely empty. But, physically ticking is really satisfying. You know what? I know I've done my work now, okay? When you get to here, you think, you know what? Okay, I'm on day 22 already. When you get here, I'm halfway through the program. When you get here, I'm nearly at that last stretch, okay? I've done more than 2/3 of it now. It's just that last stretch, okay? We're into the last month now. And then this last part's really, really tremendously intensive. The whole program's very hard work, but in the last month it gets even more intensive, because we'll do a mock every week coming up to the exam. You'll be revising things you've already covered in your own sort of time and so on. But when you get to the end and you think, you know what, I've done 90 days, it's a huge sense of satisfaction and achievement. Similarly, there's a printed curriculum checklist, and this is separate into clinical, stats, and admin. And then within that, we've done it in alphabetical order. So within the clinical, now, you see, we're not going to cover the topics in this order. We're going to cover different topics throughout the program. But at the beginning, this whole book is empty, not a single tick in it. But once you've covered a topic, so let's say now you've covered alcohol and substance misuse, tick it off. Okay. So the day before the exam, and you're about to start your program, the October program, they're about to finish because the exam's coming up on Wednesday, all right? When you're at that point, what you'll do is you look back at this book. It's 36 pages. When you look back at it and you see every single thing is ticked, we've looked through the curriculum and we've taken out about 600 or so of the key topics from it, all right, from across the whole curriculum. But when you see that they're all ticked, it's a huge sense of satisfaction, to think, you know what, I've done this now, I'm ready. You'll go into the exam knowing that all the different key topics in the whole curriculum, you've touched on it, you've looked at it, know how to deal with it. Okay, so again, that's really satisfying. So now I just want to show you about this resources page, and then I'll show you how to work through each daily email. So the resources page is this green button at the bottom of every single email that you're going to get from us. Okay, when you click this, it's got links to key resources. It's got links to the frequently asked questions about the program, but also it will automatically update a few days after each live session. The recording of that session will automatically appear. So let me show you what it looks like. Okay. So this is one from a previous cohort. Okay. Your one, when you click onto it, it will just show these core resources. So there'll be a link to the recording of this session that we're doing. If you want to watch it back later, you'll be able to download the 90-day timetable. You'll be able to download that curriculum guide, the paper one I showed you. You'll be able to download the PDF version of it, so that if you don't happen to have it in front of you and you just want to see, okay, what other things do I want to quickly read? It's there, but you'll have the printed one in some of you only signed up. And so, you're going to get your welcome pack soon. You've got reading links. If you've done a set of our questions, and then you think, you know what, I just didn't do as well in that particular topic as I wanted to. So let's say you've done allergy and immunology one. You think, I'd like just a bit more detailed reading because I didn't do as well in some of those topics. You can click that and you'll see that there's some additional links there that if you want to do something extra, or if you're stuck, where do I find a bit more reading about this topic or this topic, you'll be able to find it there. Okay. You've got sample topic review. So your first weekly task will be to identify areas that you don't feel confident in, and then to start learning them and producing one-page summaries. And there's some samples of what they can look like here. Okay. You've got useful links and a high-yield topic checklist that we talked about in the pre-course learning. All right. We've got frequently asked questions. We've got a backup daily task submission. If you're worried for any reason that your daily task, your computer crashed or something like that, you feel that it didn't get to the last bit, you could enter manually what you scored here. Okay. You shouldn't normally need this. And then can you see this by the end of the program, what you see is the videos for every live session: High Yield Webinar 1, 2, the full day AKT course, High Yield Webinar 3, the stats webinar, the admin webinar, the High Yield Clinical Grammar 1 and 2, the full day AKT 200 Grammar, High Yield Webinar 4. They'll all appear in due course. So like at the moment, you'll just have these links. Okay. After we do the first High Yield webinar, which is at the beginning of November, a few days later, this video will appear. After we've done the second one, a few days later, this takes a few days for us to process and edit the videos, but it'll appear, and so on. So the resource page is where you go. Remember, the resources page is accessed via this green button, which is at the bottom of every single email you're going to get from us in the program. Okay, so I'll show you now what the emails look like. Okay, so the first email you're going to get will come to you on Wednesday. It's the day before the program starts. The program starts on Thursday. And so it just basically will remind you of what we're going to do. It will have just two links: one to watch the orientation video, the video of what we're doing now, and one to join the WhatsApp group. We can't add you because of data protection. You add yourself via this link. Okay. And then it's got the reading for upcoming things. Doing this reading from the Oxford Handbook, these specific pages, it's going to help you for some of the questions that are going to come when you get the email the next day. All right. Now, it's not going to cover every single question, but it's going to just give you some background reading to get going. One of the things that I will do is I'll paste that into the chat in case some of you want to start reading ahead even before you get that email, because that email will come to you on Wednesday. Okay. And then look, at the bottom of that, there's a reminder of when is the next live session. So the first live session is 1st November, when we're going to do high yield learning. And then you see this is the resource page. Every single email will have this green button with resources page. So when you click on it, you can see this is yours. There's no videos here yet because we haven't done any of the live sessions. All right. But there'll be a link to this session. There'll be a link to download the timetable, the curriculum guide, all those things I showed you there. Okay. Now the day 0 email, if you like, this welcome email, is a bit different to the rest because there's no questions to do. That's because we haven't started yet. This is the day 1 email. And this is what the rest of the emails will look like. So I'll just go through it. Essentially, at the top, it just tells you what to do. But all you do is work your way down. Again, this is only there this is the weekly task, basically, for the first week, that you're going to enter your details. And it's important I'll put my details, but use the same email throughout all your submissions. Okay, so in my case, I'm going to put the eMedica email. This is also the email. If you've got any issues, any queries, support, you email us there. Okay, so what you're going to do is you're going to think about 5 topics that you really struggled with, that you don't feel confident in. They need to be specific. So there's no point, the example I've given, you can't put ENT. They need to be topics that you could learn in a day. Okay, can't learn the whole of ENT in a day, can you? So, but for example, let's say you've always struggled with many years. Put that down as topic 1. All right. So 5 things that you've struggled with, and then you submit that to us. And then part of your first week's task will be to write a topic review, a 1-page A4 summary for each of those. So you see, you're already starting to address the things that you feel least confident in right from the start. Again, there'll be a link to the orientation video. There's a question of the day. So again, you put your same email. Right, I'm putting mine, but you're going to put your email. There's a question, and then there'll be options. Let's say you select an option. Whether you get it right or wrong, read the explanation, and then there'll be links for further reading. So you click that, and then you read through. We've already done it. You can go directly to what you need to read. Okay, so there's a question of the day. Then there's going to be online questions. You need to click that link. Now, I've already logged in, but you'll need to click your login to access this. Okay, so you start your quiz. Again, you're going to put your name in. You're going to put your email in and you work through your questions. Anything you get wrong, as well as reading this, you might think, you know what, I want to read a little more detail about this because the fact I got it wrong, maybe I haven't got some of that background. If you get it right, it might be enough for you to read the explanation here, okay? So, and then once you keep going, there's 20 questions, okay? Once you get to question 20, as soon as you've answered question 20, it will automatically send us your scores, your name, and your email. And this is really important that you use the same email every time, because what we do is we track data from every single task that you do throughout the first half of the program, so that we can create an individual targeted learning plan for the last third of the program that targets your weaker areas. There might be things that you don't want to read, but we're going to make you learn them because they're the things that, based on data, you did less well in compared to other sections. So each of you will get a different plan for the last third of the program. Then there's the case cards. Which bits should you read? Okay, these are, if you haven't got the physical printed case cards yet, you can click the digital case cards here. Again, it'll ask you to log in. I've already logged in. But once you've done that and it logs in, it's day 1. So it asks you to read the first 2. So 1 and 2, you're going to read those. Okay, but if you've got the physical ones, you can read them. And then just a reminder about the weekly tasks. Each of those has a set deadline. So you've got a deadline there of the 4th of November to submit your topic reviews. You'll click this, and then once you do that, you'll be able to upload as a PDF or an image or a doc file your topic reviews. Okay, those 5 topics that you're going to work on. Then you do your reading to start preparing for the future. It's a reminder about the live session. Again, a link to the resources page at the bottom of every single email that you're going to get from us. Okay, so that was day 1 that we saw. And we've seen day 2, okay? And if I get day 2 for you, so the second day, again, it's going to work the same. There's a question to do, a question of the day. There's an online revision section. On the weekend, you're going to get 2 sections to do, okay? So you're going to need longer time on the weekend. Again, which case cards to read. So just start at the top, work your way down and just do everything, okay? Something else that's really important, you see at the bottom of every email, we include, as part of good data protection, it's important that we don't send someone an email they don't want to receive. So we have to give people the option to unsubscribe. Please only click this unsubscribe link here or here if you genuinely don't want to get any more emails from us and want to leave the program. Because if you do it by accident, email us, we'll try and add you back. But what happens is if someone does that multiple times, what happens, the email providers see someone's clicked an unsubscribe link and someone keeps adding them back. That sounds dodgy. Your email provider might then put a block on such that we will not be allowed to add you back, in which case then you're going to have to give us a different email. So please do not click this unless you want to unsubscribe from the emails, okay? So that's how the daily tasks work. Now, remember, the daily tasks have to be completed within 24 hours before you get the next email, the next morning. You've got 24 hours, and it's really important to be consistent. The weekly tasks each have a set deadline. Sometimes it's slightly more than a week, okay? But once we get into it, it's usually about a week, okay? So just a reminder, please don't click here to unsubscribe or here to unsubscribe unless you genuinely want to, okay? And then I want to leave you with 3 keys to success, and then we'll take questions. The first is that mindset matters. Michael Corder said, to succeed, we must first believe that we can. It's really important that from today you have in your mind that you are going to pass this exam. Because if you've already got in your mind that you cannot pass this exam, you can have such a negative mindset from the beginning, what we call a fixed mindset rather than a growth mindset, that it can impinge learning. There's research on this. If you've already decided that you can't change the outcome because maybe you failed in the past, or that I'm not going to be able to do it, then it becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. Because then when you find a particular topic challenging, instead of thinking, well, I'm glad that I'm dealing with this challenging topic now because now I can learn. It's an opportunity to learn. When you get a low score in a set of questions or in a specific topic, instead of seeing this as an opportunity to improve and cover things that you haven't, what will happen is that if you've got that fixed mindset or negative mindset, you think, oh, you know what, I knew it, I'm not going to do it. And it actually means that even if you do the reading, even if you do the questions, you're not going to retain as much because of that mindset. So from the beginning, you need to have in your mind, you're going to pass this exam. The next thing is to be consistent. What you've signed up for is a really intensive program, because in 90 days, we're going to do over 225 hours of work. So you've got to be committed and you've got to be consistent. Make sure you do all of your daily tasks, and it might take you a couple of days to get your rhythm. Some of you, for example, might wake up a bit early and tackle the first couple of things at the top of the email before you go to work. You might, at lunchtime, maybe take the case cards with you and do some of those then. And then you might leave some time to, do the questions when you get home. On days when you've got a night shift or you've got a late shift, you might need to adapt your times, but you've got to find time and you've got to be consistent. You've got to do the work, right? Similarly with the weekly tasks, don't leave it to the last minute. But equally, don't feel that I've done the daily task and I've got to do the whole weekly task on the day you get the weekly task set. You've got a week, spread it out. It doesn't have to all be done in one go for the weekly task, because otherwise, you might be overwhelmed. Lastly, I want you to focus on the learning, not on your scores. We have a lot of high challenge questions because, as Anna mentioned, our questions are there as a learning tool. Doing hard questions, getting them wrong, but then really learning, reading, and understanding why you got it wrong is an opportunity to learn. They're not there to assess. You can see, if you already can get 90% plus, and if you get disappointed if you get any less than that, then you don't need to be here. You don't need to be on a program if you're already getting 90% in every topic. You haven't done the bulk of your learning. Some of you have done no learning. You're starting right at the beginning now, okay? And so it's really important that you have that mindset, what we call a growth mindset, that if I get questions wrong, this is an opportunity to learn. I'm really glad that I'm covering topics I don't already know, or I'm not doing really easy questions. Because, if we gave you really easy questions and you all got 90, 100%, while you might feel good doing it, when you get to the exam and you're not prepared and you fail, you're going to be upset. We're concerned about your success at the end of this program. So what you need to do is do the work. We're here to help you. We're here to support you every step of the way. We've designed a program that we will cover all the key topics, consolidate all the key knowledge, but we'll also build your exam technique throughout the different live sessions. So all you've got to do is focus on the task at hand, be consistent, and get your work done. Okay. So look, really want to say, again, a huge thank you for trusting our team, for joining the program. It's an honor and a privilege. We don't take it lightly. I want to really welcome you, and the whole team wants to welcome you to the program and to remind you that, you've taken that first step. Now, each day, just focus on one step, doing my task, making sure I'm consistent, doing the work. Before you know it, when it's the evening before the exam, we've climbed the mountain. You won't even realize you've done it because it seems like a gargantuan task, but it's broken down. So you just need to focus on the work. You don't need to worry about how will I cover certain topic. You'll cover everything you need to cover. It'll be done. You just need to do the work. Okay. So for those that haven't got questions, welcome to the program. Really looking forward to working with you all. Keep pushing, be consistent, prepare, and you will succeed.